Good evening, Patriots around the world. This is Smash and Grab with 4chun8 P8triot. A little short stint for me to break the windows of my favorite news outlets to grab and distribute to you what I like, giving a little bit of news for the need. You can call me the Robin Hood of news. Let's do this. Well, hello there, Patriots. That's right. We're going to do a little smash and grab here. First off, I've got one from Big League Politics. This was published today, December 1st, when I'm recording this. It was written by Shane Trejo. It says, Pete Buttigieg suggests quid pro quo with Israeli military aid to promote Palestinian interests. South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg made a remark last month that received little attention from the mainstream media when he suggested that foreign military aid to Israel should be used as a bargaining chip to impact public policy in the pro-Jewish state. The openly gay Democratic presidential contender told an audience at the University of Chicago that he would hold foreign aid over the heads of the Israelis in order to coerce them into refusing to annex settlements in the West Bank. Quote, I think that the aid is leveraged to guide Israel in the right direction, unquote, Buttigieg said. If, for example, there is follow-through on these threats of annexation, I am committed to ensuring that the U.S. is not footing the bill for that, unquote. Quote, it is in the American interest as well as the Palestinian and ultimately the Israeli Jewish interest that Israel should not reach the point where they will have to be a choice between either being a Jewish state or a democracy, he added. And there is a trajectory toward that going on right now. Buttigieg also suggested that aid to Israel could be reduced as well while making his pro-Palestinian statement. Quote, I'm not going to commit now to all of the ways that the leverage can and should be used, but I will say that our policy goal will be to do what we do when a friend is moving in a way that you're worried about, which is to put your arm around them and guide them somewhere better, he said. According to the logic of the Democratic Party in the age of Trump, Buttigieg is suggesting for an illicit quid pro quo to be used against Israel. By their standards, he is advocating for an impeachable and illegal offense within his hypothetical administration. Of course, consistency is not exactly a strong suit of the Democrats. They completely ignore that former Vice President Joe Biden admitted abusing his power to stop a corruption probe in the Ukraine involving his son Hunter. While the Democrats remain gung-ho regarding their ongoing impeachment inquiry against the president, it may completely backfire against them as Republicans get ready to question witnesses of their own. Representative Devin Nunes, Republican of California, issued a letter to the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Shifty Schiff, Democrat of California, on Thursday demanding that the minority party be allowed to call witnesses to testify during the impeachment proceedings. Nunes cited House Rule 11, Clause 1, Alpha, and House Rule 11, Clause 2, Juliet 1, in order to make the case that it is germane for Republicans to bring forth witnesses for questioning at an upcoming hearing. Quote, as the committee continues to conduct the Democrats' partisan and one-sided impeachment inquiry, there are still important perspectives and serious issues that you have prevented the committee from examining, Nunes explained in the letter. We will inform you of the witnesses we intend to call once you have provided a hearing date and time to which we agree. Your failure to schedule this hearing shall constitute evidence of your denial of fundamental fairness and due process, unquote, he added. Buttigieg's rhetoric shows that the Democrats cannot even keep their own story straight about what is permissible from the president. It is not looking good for them in next year's election. All right, so that's the first one. The second one that I have here, give me one quick second, is from The Federalist. It was written by Tirzah Duren. It says, millennials are fleeing cities for refuge from Democrats' disasters. For 20-somethings leaving a small town for the big city, the feeling of liberation and possibility can be exhilarating. Mom and dad and their rules are finally in the rearview mirror, but what's up ahead is often worse. The welcoming arms of an even stricter authority known as leftist city government. Many millennials are discovering this is the hard way and making a U-turn. New Census Bureau data shows millennials are increasingly trading in urban life for the suburbs and even switching states entirely. My home city of Philadelphia is a prime example. Here, 60,000 residents leave per year, and half of them are 18 to 34 years old. The reason? Urban centers like Philadelphia are bent on destroying the very conveniences that drew millennials to the city in the first place. Here, the combined effort of a sky-high taxes and outdated regulations add up to an all-out war on millennials, or at least a war on the things they love the most. Brunch, for example. In Pennsylvania, where I live, the number of available liquor licenses is restricted by our state liquor monopoly. These restrictions and the fact that licenses are sold at auction, seriously, make selling booze way too expensive for business owners. It can cost more than $100,000 to simply obtain the license to sell a mimosa. The restaurateurs who either can't get a license or can't afford one are forced to offer the would-be boozy brunchers a bring your own booze policy. Okay, boomer, you're trying to sell this as a hip, quote, Philly phenomenon? We're not falling for it. The war on brunch doesn't end there. The state has free rein to mark up the price of alcohol, which it does constantly. Average markups are 65%. Of course, the war on brunch is just one example of government overreach that has millennials fleeing cities. Ridiculously high state and local tax burdens prevent young adults who are just getting their lives together from spending their income as they see fit, as well as meeting basic obligations like student loan payments. Locally, Philadelphia has the fifth highest taxes per capita. Among the U.S. cities that tax more are New York and San Francisco, both of which also saw an exodus of young adults in recent data. Leaving places that become unaffordable and inconvenient is a form of protest, and the problem isn't limited to high-tax cities. Young people are also leaving high-tax states. According to research from the Cato Institute, in 2016, all but one of the 25 highest tax states experienced a net loss of population. Comparatively, the 17 lowest taxes states experienced a net increase. This pattern also appears in the 2017 Census Bureau data. Notoriously high-tax California saw some of the highest out-migration, with most moving to low-tax Texas. Similarly, Florida was the leader of immigration, with most moving from high-tax New York, like Trump is doing. The outflow of residents caused New York to lose more than $8 billion, and California more than $2 billion in tax revenue. Meanwhile, the low-tax state of Florida gained $17 billion. 17. The proponents of heavy tax burdens say the trade-off is high-quality public services. But go take a walk in San Francisco's streets and alleys. Sit for a minute in Philadelphia's suburban station. Ride the Long Island subway. I think we can agree that high taxes do not buy good service. If my home state of Pennsylvania and other states and cities want to staunch the outflow of citizens in their prime, they need to reevaluate their priorities. For starters, states should enact common sense limits on spending increases, like Pennsylvania's proposed Taxpayer Protection Act. Spending limits can address the driving forces of the millennial exodus by preventing the need for tax increases and forcing policymakers to prioritize taxpayer dollars. America's second largest generation is moving from young adulthood to middle-aged life, so policymakers can no longer rest on the lure of urban convenience. Young people are getting wise to that. We want to see results. Government-inflicted expenses turn attractive cities and states into money sinkholes. Are cheaper mimosas and more affordable housing, low regulations, and limited taxes really too much to ask for? All right. Well, thank you for sitting with me for this little smash and grab. I've stolen what I could for the day. I am glad you all are here, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.